take over the session.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you, everyone who's joined on Zoom and our friends on YouTube. Thank you for taking the time. I believe that this time will be beneficial to you as you think about skills beyond the pandemic. And we can't just sit back and complain that I wish things were different. I wish things were different than what I am going through right now. But what we can do is to look beyond our current circumstances with optimism and with hope, right? So for interaction purposes, we have a link that we have shared in the description. If you're on YouTube, it's on description. You can check a Menti link there, a Mentimeter link there. If you are on Zoom, you have the link shared right there, right? So that's where we will be doing some of our interactions, and the questions will be appearing as we speak. So I just want to start off with a question. This is happening on Mentimeter. You can answer this question. What has the last 1 year taught you? What has the last 1 year taught you? You can just mention one thing. You don't have to talk about a lot of things, but what has the last 1 year taught you? And it'll be really interesting to see your answers here. And I would like to just highlight a few answers as you put your answers here. So those on Zoom, please click on the link shared in the chat. Those on YouTube, please click on the link in the comment section or under the description that you can find. So what has the last 1 year taught you? Can be a very philosophical answer, can be a very practical answer, but just want to like to hear from what your experience has been. Right. Okay. So importance of patience. Okay, that's what almost everyone who has put their answers in saying. What is the last 1 year taught you? So good answers coming in there. So others, can you just put in your answers in the Mentimeter? So click on the link and you will be able to answer these questions. To be strong, uncertainty. I like this answer. Life is uncertain, and you really need to have some good savings and a good job. Really, that's a very practical answer. The only thing we can do those things for a long time in which we are interested. Yes. I think if you're not really interested in things that you're doing, you will lose patience. I learned to be patient all the time is some of the answers coming on the YouTube chat as well. How to face the worst one, make it the best one. Either it would be situation or anything else. Saving for the future, patience, importance, to not take life for granted. Lot of answers coming here on the chat. So please use the Mentimeter. This is where we will be interacting, dealing with uncertainty, keep working regardless of the present situation. I just love that, that you look forward regardless of what's happening right now to survive in every situation, make the best out of ourselves, irrespective of the circumstances. Right. So as we think about just maybe one more answer, the longer one. 2020 has taught us the problem we face and the resilience we respond with has the power to shape our lives. With each challenge, we're given more opportunity to persevere, learn, and grow into a stronger, more compassionate, and more grateful human. Really, thank you for that answer, taking the time to put it out, and thank you for everyone who's been responding so well. Right. So 2020 has taught a lot of things, and things are continuing. We don't know how long this whole scenario will play out, but in the midst of all this, we need to be optimistic and keep going. Let me ask you a question, quick question. Can you guess the number of student internship applications per year in India? Just take a guess. How many student applications do you think for internships that companies receive? Can you just put your guess in the either the chat on YouTube or chat on Zoom? You can put your answers wherever you want to put. The number of internship applications that companies receive in a year in India. Can you take a guess? Let's just see what your guess is. The number of student internship applications per year. Okay, so some are saying it's 10 lakhs, okay, 20 lakhs. Some saying 50 lakh, 2 lakh plus. Okay, so different answers coming in. You can put it on the YouTube chat or on the Zoom chat, wherever you are. All right, so 2 lakh, 3 lakh. Okay, good answers coming in. Let me just show you some of the stats. This is from last year. So let me just share the screen and show you some of the stats that companies do get. So I'm going to take the example of a report from Internshala, but not be fully accurate and capture the entirety, but you'll get an idea, right? So this is the Internshala website. We're not promoting Internshala, but we did hire from Internshala, so we know some of their ideas. So there are around 10,000 plus internships you can apply for free. So that's what they are offering. So some of them are jobs here. All that is great. But look at this report. This is the report from Economic Times from last year. So Economic Times says this: 76,000 students applied to internship every day in the past year. Every day. Okay, 76,000 students applied every day. I just did a calculation right here. That is 2.77 crore internship applications in India last year. So these are, and many of them are free internship. That's just for the sake of experience and certificate and all of that. Why am I showing you this is, we went through this process. We hired a digital marketing intern from Internshala. And so we know for just a small post, for an internship post, the amount of competition that's there, an amount of people that are willing to work long hours without pay just for the sake of an internship certificate. And that's the scene out there, and it's the reality. I'm not telling all of this to scare you, but this is what we are facing, right? This is the scenario that we are facing. So work has changed quite a lot after the pandemic. So I want you to, again, think about just one or two ways in which the idea of work has changed beyond the pandemic. So again, you can put it on YouTube chat or Zoom chat, wherever you are. How has work changed after the pandemic? The way we work, and I know all of you are students, but just think about maybe your parents, the way that you see the world around you work. How has work changed in the past 1 year after the pandemic? So as your answers come in and pour in, I just want to hear your thoughts. You can put it on the Zoom chat, you can put it on the YouTube chat. I'd like to look at some answers there. How has work changed after the pandemic? So let me give you some of my thoughts, and I'll read some of your answers as well. The way work has changed is the whole work culture has changed. And right now I am in Lucknow. My colleague, Emmanuel, is in Delhi. And our boss, Rob, is on his way to the US. So he'll be in the US by Saturday morning. So we plan to work. He'll be in the US. My colleague will be in Ludhiana, is on the way to Ludhiana. I'll be here in Lucknow, and probably next 1 month, this will be how we work. So this was kind of unthinkable before March. Like, how can 3 people in 3 separate places work for a small company? The whole world culture has changed. So the way we connect, the way we interact, the way we communicate, the whole culture has changed. Secondly, the work timings have changed. So it's no longer 9 to 5. It can be 6 a.m. It can be 11 p.m. It's so fluid. It becomes so flexible and fluid. I was just reading a report that said that only around 15% of a survey that was done wanted to go back to the office for a 9 to 5 job, right? They would rather work from home for the rest of their lives because it's become so fluid. And looking at some answers coming in the YouTube, everything has gone online. People have become careless. We've suddenly shifted to the digital world. We know much more about things in the pandemic, and technology has changed the way we work. So that is the second aspect, the timing, the culture. Thirdly, the skills that you need to actually progress in your work has changed. So think about a teacher who was teaching primary classes, right? All she needed was is a good communication skill, a desire to teach younger children, a connect that she makes, the storytelling skills, the presence of mind, a pleasant face. That's the skill set that she had, and then the early education pedagogy and all of that. But suddenly, we work with teachers for the last 1 year, and we've seen that these same teachers who were so good teaching kids, so good, They were absolutely fantastic on their jobs, miserably failed when it had to be a transitioned online, miserably. And many of them were in tears as they thought of how could I possibly now teach kids sitting in front of a screen. And so the skills needed suddenly became much, much more different. And therefore, what I want to try to say here is this. You might be in your third year thinking of joining the workforce or trying for internships next year. It's not just the subject knowledge of whatever subject you're doing, be it psychology, political science, English, Hindi, economics, whatever you're doing, not just the subject knowledge. It's not just how good your report card looks like. It doesn't matter how great your scores has been in first year and second year. It all now matters. Do you fit the job? Do you fit the job as well? So I want to ask you one more question, and this is a difficult question. Which is a greater problem? Is it unemployment or being unemployable? Unemployment or being unemployable? And it's a very difficult question to answer, especially if you're somebody who's been searching for a job, especially if you're looking at a very bleak future. Many times that question, it's easy to blame somebody else, blame the government, blame the economy, blame COVID. It's easy to blame companies, they're not hiring. It's very easy to blame something external when it comes to unemployment. Right? It's so sad we are in a recession. It's so sad a government is not doing enough, or there are things that is not working in our favor. It's so sad. We can keep complaining about that. But what about the second question? What about being unemployable? Isn't that a more difficult problem? Right? I'm seeing some answers coming in the YouTube chat, which is more unemployable is sad. Yeah, unemployment is sad. Definitely. When you don't have opportunities that fit your credentials, it is sad. But being unemployable is worse. It's sadder. And we've just hired one. I just mentioned that, and it was pretty heartbreaking to read some of the applications. Some of them mentioned their very personal financial struggles and all of that, and it shows such a desperation to get an internship or get a job, and that's the times. But what was even sadder is those who had degrees could not substantiate that they had the skills to do the job. And that's even sadder, because the unemployment can change, the economy can come back anytime. But what if you are still unemployable? When you apply to a job, what if they look at your resume, you have the degrees, but you're unemployed? But that's the worst thing. That's the sadder thing. And that's something that I want to really I want all of you to think about as we talk. So let's go back to Mentimeter. I want to collect all of your answers here. Let's go back to Mentimeter, and I want you to answer this question. We are talking about the second question here. We looked at the first one. I thank you all of you for answering. We look at the second question. What is a skill that you would like to work on along with your academics as you are studying economics, psychology, English, Hindi, Urdu, or journalism, whatever you're doing, home sciences, BBA, MBA? I mean, you do your academics, you should do justice to that. But what is a skill you would like to learn along with this? A skill that you want to develop. It can be a completely different skill, unconnected with your academic, the curriculum. It can be something totally different. It could be photography. It could be web designing. It could be public speaking. It could be things like blogging, traveling. It could be starting a YouTube channel. It could be learning Canva. It could be anything. Right. So let's just listen to some of your answers. What is a skill you would like to work on along with your academics? There's an option to put 3 answers there, so you can put in 3 answers as you answer them. Right. So let's look at a few options coming in that you are saying: digital marketing, YouTube, coding, graphic designing, public speaking, music, communication, YouTube, yeah, graphic designing, improving my personality, right, painting, leadership, okay, how to interact, the talent of convincing, that's a good answer there, the ability to communicate and convince people, Want to be a YouTuber. I want to learn Korean. That's an interesting. Is it because of the BTS boy band or something? I don't know. Developing apps. All right, great. So lot of skills coming. Technical handling, time management, visual assistance, writing blogs, creative skills, motivational speaking, work-life balance. Yeah, that's definitely how to interact with people. Look at that. These are skills that are not taught in through a textbook, through a curriculum, right? These are skills you really desire and you want to invest in that, and therefore the onus is on you. The college can only come alongside and say that, hey, these are things that we can do for you, but the onus, the initiative rests on you as you think about these important skills, right? So skills sets are important. Let me just highlight 5 skill sets and what we at Vigio are planning to do about that. So these are just highlights of that, and I just want to just put it across to you, and I'll take up some questions at the very end. Okay, so the first set of skills that you will need to work on at the category of sets. I've got 5 categories. This is the first category. It's called soft skills. Right. So soft skills. Let me just go back to the board that you were saying. A lot of soft skills right here. There are a lot of soft skills that you can pick out from here. Right. So skills about the way communication. Yeah, definitely. That's a soft skill. Creative thinking. Yeah, that's again soft skill, life skill kind of thing. Interpersonal skills are here. Personal skills are here. How to speak fluently, how to plan, how to be creative. Yeah, how to know your strengths and weaknesses. A lot of that are covered right here. So soft skills is definitely one area that all of us need to think about. So at Vigio, these are some of the soft skills that we talk about. We talk about self-awareness. So that's where you look at your own strengths and weaknesses. Many times we are so obsessed to become somebody else. And we are so obsessed that I am not somebody else. I'm not able to do what they are able to do. And that takes our sleep away. We don't look like they look, or we can't do things that they can do, and it just makes us quite disappointed. But there are these essential soft skills, and one of them is self-awareness, to know your strengths and weaknesses, to know your personality type, to know what you're good at, and to invest time in that. Now, soft skill is mastering time. We need to know how to master time. And I thank you for joining this. You have invested your time in this workshop, in this webinar, as you are serious about looking at your life. Mastering time. Critical thinking, so essential. The art of asking questions, the art of analyzing, the art of looking at your what are your biases, to understanding all of those things, and to look at fallacy filters. That's such an important skill. Critical thinking. Look at a scenario and come with a very structured answer. Critical thinking. Another one is basics of communication, to speak your mind, to communicate your idea. If I'm not able to convey what's in my mind, this whole webinar is a waste. Yeah, so many of you are saying that, yeah, critical thinking is something that you would like to work on. So can you just put in the chat which of these 4 skills is something that really catches your attention? Is it self-awareness? Is it mastering time? Is it critical thinking, or the basics of communication? Just put in the chat. I'd like to hear your thoughts on these soft skills. There are many more soft skills, definitely, but these are the 4 that we are focusing right now. Okay, that's the first set of skills, which are the soft skills. The second set of skills is the life skills. So life skills are skills that are a little different from the soft skills, but it has its power in shaping your whole personality. So a lot of you are saying, I'm suffering from basic communication, critical thinking. A lot of you saying communication and critical thinking right there. Right. So some of the essential life skills are mentioned right here. Life skills is to be self-motivated, right? And that's an important life skill where you are able to make plans and you are able to commit to those plans and follow through those plans. It's not that we don't make plans. Just think about 2021, January 1st. if you even remember that, right? I'm sure you made a lot of plans the previous night as you look forward to, okay, 2021, this is going to be the year that will change my destiny, right? I will be a totally different person. It's been 6 months now. I don't know if much has happened. So self-motivation is not just listening to a really good pep talk on YouTube and getting so charged up and making some ideas and plans, and 2 days later even forgetting the fact that you made ideas and plans. That's not self-motivation. Self-motivation is where you commit to your plans. You commit to your plans. It could be through accountability, it could be through self-accountability, however that works. You commit to plans and get it done, because if you want to actually move forward, this is an essential life skill to have, to be motivated and to commit to your plans, even when you don't feel like doing it, even when you don't feel like doing something, you being self-motivated. Second aspect is emotional intelligence. So important, especially in an online context when everything is online. There's so many cases of depression, of discouragement, of disconnect, where everything is on a screen. You get emotionally so tangled and so muffled that your emotions are suppressed, or some of us express it out loud. And it's important to be aware of those emotions in us and in the person whom we are communicating with. And the emotional awareness and social awareness and being wise in handling emotions, such an important life skill. Another one is fostering creativity. So important, because right now, just think about it. And I was thinking about Swiggy, Swiggy, and all of us know Swiggy. Just taking the example of Swiggy. When the lockdown hit and all the restaurants were closed, you know what Swiggy did? They changed their model of operations, because restaurants are not there. Why would they as a delivery partner exist? They don't need to exist, right? Because there are no restaurants. So what they changed is they started delivering essentials, medicines. If I want to send a document from here to Gomti Nagar, which is another part of Lucknow, I can just call Swiggy. They'll come pick up the document and go and deliver it there. So, I mean, it needed somebody to come up with that idea. Swiggy doesn't automatically say, okay, no food, let's start delivering packages. It doesn't work like that. Somebody in that think tank with creativity came and said, hey, we've got this many number of drivers and bikes and everything. Hey, this is a time where people can't travel. Why don't we bridge that gap? So that needs creativity. Creativity doesn't just mean making artwork. Yes, that is creativity. It doesn't just mean doodling or making things on Canva. Yes, that's creativity. It also means coming up with ideas. Ideas is what have power, my friends. And that's why it's so important to build that habit of being creative. You don't just become creative one fine day and start coming up with ideas. It needs to be built through a habit of creative. And that's what's a life skill that we talk about. Number 4 in this list is working as teams. Again, things have changed. My teammate is in Delhi and my boss is going to be in the US in the next 2 days. How do we even exist? How can we even function like a team if all 3 of us are so far apart from each other? And that's the power of communication. That's the power when you set expectations and you're able to work together as a team. Such an essential skill when it comes to modern workplaces. So life skills, I mentioned 4. Which is your top pick in this? Which is an area you want to work on? Self-motivation, to make plans and follow through. Emotional intelligence, be aware of your own emotions, control them, and to understand other person's emotions and respond appropriately. Fostering creativity, to become a person who has this habit of creativity, or to learn how to work better, coordinate better, function together as a team. Please put it in the chat, on the Zoom chat, on the YouTube chat, wherever you are. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So those who are on Zoom can just mention it on the chat and just put it for everyone to see. Those on YouTube can put it on the YouTube chat, right? So 4 skills we mentioned. I'm just looking at some of the answers coming in for the previous one. So a lot of you are mentioning communication, critical thinking, fostering creativity, a lot of communications, emotional intelligence, and things like that. So some questions coming in. Make sure that you put it on Mentimeter so that I can answer it together at the end. I'll just take a quick question. Isn't working as a team make us more dependent on others rather than ourselves? Yes, that's a good question. And that's so key. And that's where life skills is both self-motivation and working as a team, right? And we need each other. I need Emmanuel as my colleague to get this function, this webinar function. I need Sonika ma'am's help to get the word across into IT college, and Vikio needs me to deliver this content to you. We all need each other. Even if we are really good at what we do, if you are not able to connect with each other, just take the example of football, right? You can be the greatest striker in the world, and if you don't pass the ball, you're out of the team. Nobody wants you. You need to function as teams, and that's very basic of how we function. Okay, we looked at two things with soft skills, so important to communicate our ideas, to know ourselves, and express ourselves and think. Number two is life skills, to communicate, not just communicate ideas, but also emotions, and to work together, gel together as teams. Number three, I want to just mention the study skills and why this is important. Many of us know that degrees are not of much use if you don't have the skills, but there is a need for investing time in learning these study skills. What do I mean by study skills? It means that you will understand things better, right? Not just mug it up or for the sake of the exams, but you'll understand things better. Let's say you're preparing for a competitive exam. How much can you by heart? You need to understand things. And if there were ways to understand what you're reading, what you're learning better, it would make the whole learning process much more interesting. And it's such an essential skill. And we work with teenagers, those in school, and we work with teenagers, and one of the things we teach is the study skills, because for many of them, for example, maths, no offense to any math graduates and teachers here, but maths is something that students see as such a difficult subject, such a difficult thing to do, and that remains from class 1 to class 12, all the way to class 12. Oh, maths is so scary. The reason is they've never learned to enjoy math. It could be the same for your history or economics or psychology, sociology, whatever subject that you don't find interesting in. If there were ways to understand better, remember longer, focus intently, and that's such a key in the age of Netflix and Amazon Primes and endless web series and every new movies coming up every Friday, and YouTube lives and a Clubhouse and podcasts, so many things out there, and gaming and whatnot. In the midst of all this, how do you even study? So because we don't enjoy studying, we keep the studying towards the exam, towards the exam happens, and then that exam becomes such a demotivating exercise. You just don't want to study because there's so much that you have to do. So if there were ways to understand better, remember longer, focus intently, and to use digital study tools. This is something that we teach in the study skills module. We talk about digital tools that you can use to create flashcards, to create mind maps, to organize your notes, to do active recall, to do spaced repetition, to plan. A lot of these tools, we teach that to school students, and very, very useful for college students as well. So that's the third skill that you need to work on, so that your academics doesn't suffer, so that your preparations for competitive exams in the future, if you want to do that, becomes much more streamlined. What you need is not just motivation, you need plans to do that. Some comments coming here: understanding better and focusing intently, because if you have to adopt such one, then remaining will be automatically adopted. Yes, that's great. That's good comments coming here. I'm just looking at the YouTube comments behind the screen behind me, so I'm able to read that, and really, really good ones. Okay, good. So I'm moving on to the fourth one, which is very exciting: digital skills, and I saw a lot of that in your skills that you want to work on. So digital skills have taken a big rise in prominence in the last few years, especially since the lockdown, because everything had to be done online, and therefore the only way that I can reach you, earlier it was print a poster, put it in the college notice board. That last time we did it was like that. We printed a poster and put it in the college notice board. Everyone saw it. Those who saw it, those who wanted to come, they came. This time there's no college notice board, and the college notice board is the WhatsApp group. And therefore, if it has to reach a WhatsApp group, there needs to be a poster. And if the poster has to be there needs to be two things. One, there should be the design. Second, there should be the content. There should be the design, there should be the content, and that is what goes into the poster. It gets into your mobile and your devices. Right, that's a digital skill. Right now, I'm presenting using something called Prezi. Right, so this is a digital tool, and you need to learn how to use this if you like to have presentations. Like, I'm not sharing my screen, you're able to see me, I'm able to look at you through this camera, eye to eye, and my content, whatever I want to present, is right here. Whenever I want to go screen sharing, I do that. Again, digital skills. All of these are so important in modern times. So these are the skills that we will talk about in the digital skills module. So we'll talk about visual designing, the whole idea of how does visual designing work, and how does it how does it attract people, what catches the attention, what are some of the principles, some of the laws of that, because there is a science behind it, why some designs click, the color combinations, the fonts, the orientations, the alignments, the spacings, so much things that go into that, and we talk about that in the principles. We also talk about Canva, and I use Canva, I think, for almost every poster. I think all the posters, yes, that you've seen, the YouTube cover page, the thumbnail that you saw, that was on Canva. What you're seeing on screen right now is, again, a post designed in Canva, and I brought it into Prezi. So all of this, again, digital designing, and all of this is done easily. So we'll talk about visual designing there. We'll talk about visual presentation. How do you go and present your ideas in an online environment? For example, even if you're applying for an internship, your interview might most likely be online. It might be a Zoom call. How do you present yourself on a Zoom call? What about a group discussion if that happens in a breakout room on Zoom call? What are some of those visual presentation skills that you can have so that you can make an impression on your audience? It can be while you're marketing something, you're presenting something, attending an interview. All of these are totally new skills. Nobody predicted this. This was something that we need to adapt, something that we need to learn, right? We also talk about content creation. How do you write content that is attractive? How do you plan for content that's attractive? So in the poster that I mentioned, that's how do you come up with a title like that? So I discussed with Sonika ma'am, and I gave her a title. She said, this is similar to what we did last time. Can we change the title? Thought about the title, and that's the title, Skills Beyond the Pandemic. It has everything in it, right? Everything in it. Whatever we're going to talk about in this webinar, it's in the title. So content creation, how to be creative with that, all of that is what we will be talking about. The final one is career skills. And this is where we look beyond. So the first four is how you prepare: the soft skills, the life skills, the study skills, and the digital skills. You're preparing to build up your potential, build up and polish your own self. And career skills is where you take it out to the world and say that, hey, I'm ready. If you're interested, you can hire me. I can offer my work. So that's the career skills. And four things that we mentioned here, we talk about here. We talk about personal branding on LinkedIn, very simple techniques that you can learn to build your personal brand on LinkedIn, how to write a resume or apply to a position. As I said, we put it out on Internshala for the opening of a digital marketer, and we got around 100 plus applications in 2 or 3 days. Some as young as 10 standard students, some as old as 35, 40 years old, all for the same post for an intern. We were not paying much. We just wanted somebody to do 20 hours of work. And one thing that I saw is some of the applications were very easy for me to sift through because it was not written well. So as somebody who's hiring, and I have 100 applications for one post, that's 100:1 ratio, and I have to eliminate. I will look for applications that are complete. I look for applications that have answered to my questions precisely. So Internshala, if you apply, you'll find there'll be fewer questions that they'll ask you. The more precise the answer, the more attention you get, or shortlisting happens there. So I think 90% of the applicants were just vague. They just put in some links and they whatever their Instagram posts and all of that. Say, you, if you want, you look at, if you like it, then call me. That kind of an attitude. And so 90% was easy to just sift through and reject. It was just probably 10% or less that did the job of taking the time to write what was asked. And that's a skill. You may never know that a skill if you're writing your exams. You just keep writing and writing and filling the papers. When you're applying for a post, you don't have to fill papers. You write to the point. And that's a skill to learn. So we'll talk about that in resume writing and applications writing and all of that. Personal interview, the questions that we ask and to answer precisely, not just to impress the interviewer, but to share your vision and your principles through the answers that you say. That's a skill that you can have, that you can develop. And finally, group discussion, especially in an online context. How do you do that? So these are the 5 things that we will talk about in the career skills. Okay, so I want to just run through that. These are essential skills, 5 categories. Each of them has 4. Each module has 4 sessions. So soft skills, we will talk about self-awareness, mastering time, critical thinking, and basic of communication. In the life skills model, these are skills that are important. We will talk about self-motivation to create plans and sustain them, emotional intelligence to stay calm and to understand the other person, fostering creativity, and working as teams. In study skills, this is for not just for your academics in college, but also any other study projects that you will take up in the future, preparing for exams or things like that. We will talk about understanding better, simple techniques to look at something that you're studying and to how to summarize that, paraphrasing, something we'll talk about. Feynman techniques, what we'll talk about. Mind mapping is something we'll talk about. Cornell notes is what we'll talk about in understanding. Remembering, we'll talk about memory techniques. We'll talk about active recall. We'll talk about space repetition techniques. We'll talk about all of these digital and physical flashcards to remember things. All these techniques are so useful, and I'm sure you will say, I wish they had taught me in school. That's what everyone that I talk about this or teach this tell me. I wish I'd known it 5 years back. I personally wish I'd known these techniques when I was in college. I learned it in my master's and beyond. So study skills is something that we can work on. The next one, of course, is the digital skills, the visual presentation, the visual designing, the tools for that, content creation, content writing. These are things that we talk about in digital skills. And finally, the career skills, we will talk about how to create a personal brand on LinkedIn, to present yourself through your resume, your cover letter, and also to write your applications well, personal interview, and also group discussion. That's at the last stage. So these are the 5 modules that we would like to offer to students. So I just want to ask you, out of these 5 modules, which do you think is your high priority? Okay, so you can rank this. This is happening on Menti. So make sure that you